Cash is king, or so we've been told a lot of the times, and in a lot of respects it actually is, but in one sense it doesn't make for the best financial investment, and I'm going to go through with you today why. Welcome back to the channel everyone, my name's David, Millionaire Incorporated, and I like to go through topics here of personal finance, wealth creation and investing strategies and things like that, so you can actually have a bit more financial freedom in your lives. Now, if you're new, don't forget to go back and check some of my other videos on how to set up budgets and things like that, which can actually help you in the long run. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for joining in again, guys. Really appreciate the support. Don't forget, as always, guys, hit the like, leave me a comment if you're finding value in the videos, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. So as I was saying, cash is king. So what do I actually mean by this? Cash, it gives you a lot of security when you have it in the bank. So it allows you to kind of weather any financial storms that might come up in the future. So if you go through some financial hardship, you might lose your job, or you don't have a mortgage on your property, you've got cash available to you to actually use and actually sustain life. If you need to pay bills and things like that, it's actually great and comes in handy. But over the long term, cash isn't a great investment at all. It's actually a pretty poor one, to be honest. Now, you've probably heard the Grant Cardone constantly saying cash is useless and it's only good if it's actually earning you an income. And I wholeheartedly agree with this. Cash on its own doesn't do anything. The only thing it does is actually allow you to pay for groceries, food, allows you to pay for things essentially. But once it's used, it's gone and you can't replenish it. So what you really want to be thinking about is actually getting that money or getting that cash and putting it to use for you, so that actually earns you an income passively or in some way that you can actually use at a later date without depleting what cash you actually have available to invest, and actually allows you to kind of live a regular normal lifestyle. And I actually go into this when one of my videos about passive investments and things like that, where you put your money to work for you so that you've got money coming in and you can actually live off that money. Now that's actually a pretty smart investment strategy. And even Warren Buffett says this similar thing as well, but he was more so along the lines of bonds. He thinks bonds are actually pretty useless because they earn basically nothing for putting money in that investment vehicle asset class. Now, it's actually not a bad investment tool during certain periods, but as it currently stands, it's actually a pretty poor investment. And over the long term, had you actually invested in good quality assets, you would have actually done significantly better. So that's where it comes to know what you can actually do with your money. So as I was saying, cash is good, but it's not necessarily a great investment. You want to actually, like I said, put that money to work for you to earn you money over the long term. Now, there are great things you can actually put your money into. You can actually invest in businesses, like franchises and things like that. If you can buy McDonald's, but I think there's certain caveats you actually have to, and hoops you have to jump through to actually buy a McDonald's. You can also buy in Subways and things like that, buying some kind of franchise, which actually earns you money over time. Investing in the stock market in said large corporations and businesses and things like that, which will actually pay you a dividend over time, or its value will go up over time, whichever strategy you choose. But like I said, it's one thing to have money in the bank, but you actually want to get that money doing something for you and actually earning you a reasonable amount of income or going up in value over time. Because the other issue with having just cash and having cash in the bank is inflation. And as you're probably aware at the moment, inflation is probably going to start rising relatively soon, because a lot of people are actually going out and spending a lot more money on discretionary goods like clothing, going out for dinner, holidays, whatever. And so a lot more markets in the money, especially with the Fed and other banking institutions and stuff around the world, or governments around the world, printing a lot of money and injecting it, or literally force feeding it into the economy at the moment to kind of stimulate growth. So as a result, more money in the economy, more liquidity, trying to buy less goods. So inflation is going to start picking up again, potentially. So like I said, that actually erodes the value of your money that you're just saving. So if it's at 2%, you're losing 2% per year on the value of money. So you might have $100 one year, that $100 the following year, if inflation is at 2%, is only $98. It only has a purchasing power of $98, and that decreases over time. So not only are you not increasing the value of your money, but it's actually being eroded. So one thing to always keep in mind when investing is you actually want to invest to actually outpace inflation, which a lot of investment vehicles actually do. So I think the stock market long term actually returns 10%. So keep that in mind when just thinking about having cash in the bank. Now, cash does serve a purpose, having it in the bank. It allows you to, during times of crisis, make investments and buy assets which are actually really cheap. So if you saw last year in 2020, depending on when you watched this video, that the stock markets around the world pretty much just completely crashed. They lost a significant amount of their value, literally overnight or within a month or two. So if you had cash in the bank, you were actually in a financial position where you could actually take an advantage of that market drop and actually bought quality assets or quality companies on the stock exchange at a discounted rate. And then, as you know, as I hopefully you do know, the stock market actually did rise quite rapidly over the next couple of months and actually created a new high on the index itself. So overall, the entire market did rise. So that's the purpose of cash, having cash in the bank. You want to be liquid in good times, so that or you want to be liquid in poor times, so that when a crisis occurs, you can actually take full advantage of it. And I saw this actually just recently that one business owner does. He has a emergency fund or a crisis fund which is kept completely off the books or in a safe place that nobody knows about, so that whenever there is a major financial crisis or a significant crisis, he has that cash available to him to inject into his business and keep it running without having too much of a burden on trying to get more sales or whatever, depending on what kind of business he's in. So that's when cash is king. And the other purpose of cash is it allows you to leverage it and get more financing for purchasing properties and stuff. But in that sense, that cash is somewhat utilized to actually service that funding or get that funding across the board. So in one sense, that's actually not just cash sitting in the bank, that's cash serving a purpose. Like I'm just talking about pretty much cash doing literally nothing. So yeah, so things to consider and remember there, guys. So as always, guys, if you're new, hit the subscribe button, don't forget to follow me. Give me a like if you like this video and leave me a comment. It actually really helps me with the algorithm and letting me know that you actually enjoy the content I'm producing for you. Cheers, guys.